First of all, what is a blended family? A blended family would be a husband and a wife. The husband has 2 children from a prior relationship. The wife has 3 children from a prior relationship. That's one issue, so we want to be fair among the 5 children. Another issue with blended families, and this is a big issue, is people get married later in life and they have separate property when they come into the marriage. What is separate property? Separate property is assets that you acquired before you were married, and also assets that you acquire via inheritance. Community property, on the other hand, would be assets that you acquire from earnings during marriage. That's an oversimplification of community versus separate property, but it's a good discussion point. So what do we do when we do an estate plan for this blended family? Well, the first thing we do is, if there's a lot of separate property, we can set up a separate property trust for one spouse or for both spouses. The second thing we do with the community property is we set up a family trust for the community property. The next thing we want to do to be fair is you have to pick who is going to be in charge of your estate, which is called a trustee. It's also called an executor, agent under a power of attorney. So a lot of times what we do is we choose one child from family A, one child from family B. If the child from family A can't do it, then we choose another child from family A. If the child from family B cannot do it, then we choose another child from family B. Now, the next thing that's an issue is a lot of times families come into the marriage and the house is owned by the husband or wife. Well, if the person owning the house dies first, does the surviving spouse get to live in the house? So we could put that in your estate plan. So we could say that the surviving spouse gets to live in the house for the rest of his life, and he or she pays all expenses. We could put the surviving spouse gets to live in the house for 5 years, and then at the end of 5 years, the house gets sold, and he or she gets a distribution so that he or she can have a place to live. If you have a blended family and would like to discuss the options, please call the law offices of Alice Salvo for free consultation.